Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the MSY. I'm Habi Batu, and today we are going to talk about extramarital affair and divorce in the United States. According to the Huffington Post and TheStreet.com, about 50% of marriages in the U.S. end in divorce. That being said, it doesn't mean that half of the country is divorced. However, many couples end up cheating on their spouses though they remain married. For instance, CheatSheet.com suggests that as many as 23% of men and 19% of women have admitted cheating on their spouses. Why does that happen? We will get the answer. Watch. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And today I'm going to start with Amber Oath. Okay, so you are a senior journalism major at UMass Amherst, and you was born in the United States, but your parents are originally from the Caribbean. Is that right? All right. Thank you for being here today. And this is Daniel Wen. So you was born also in the United States. So you are a microbiology major, right?
Yeah, right.
Senior at UMass Amherst, and your parents are originally from Southeast Asia,
Right.
Vietnam.
Right.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And this is Ratra Parol. You are from South Asia, India, and you are a psychology and journalism major, senior at UMass Amherst.
Yes,
Thanks
that's
for
right.
being here. And this is Katie Donegan, communication and journalism major at UMass Amherst, and you are from Massachusetts. Thank you guys for being here. And as I said previously, today we're going to talk about marital affair and yes, divorce in the United States. What do you guys think about that? Amber?
I think that divorce is something that's very prevalent in the U.S., specifically and across the world. But I feel like since we live in a very individualistic culture, a lot of people, when they go into marriage or when they think about marriage, they think of how it's going to benefit them personally, and not how they can serve their spouse and become one unit.
So are you talking about the American couples or you talking about culture?
Yeah. Well, my answer is based off of living in the U.S. In terms of Caribbean culture, I'm more familiar with my mom's side. She's from Barbados, and their culture is much more collectivist. It's normal for whole families and extended family to live in one house together, and marriage is something that's looked at as a collectivist thing. It's like we're one, like we're in this together.
Exactly. Which a lot of people really don't
Don't look at.
exactly. All right, so that's a good point. What about you, Daniel? What do you think about extramarital affair? Why is it happening today?
Yeah. Well, I come from like a divorced family myself, but yeah, I think like just like the values and just the concepts of marriage has been kind of changing a lot lately in the country, and so I think a lot of people aren't on the same page on what marriage is, like what to expect, and so when they actually go through, I think there's a lot of tension. So yeah, I think that's what contributes to a lot of the extramarital affairs, I think.
Okay, so do you think this is something that may get worse or change to the positive?
What do you mean get worse or positive?
Because actually, if we think about maybe years ago, I don't think that people were really allowed to get divorced that much as it is happening today. So it seems like it's getting worse. So do you think this is something that's gonna change one day positively, or you think it's only gonna keep getting worse and worse?
I think it's kind of hard to tell right now, just because there's two dominant dialogues right now in the country on what marriage is, and they're competing against each other in the country, and so I think, I think only time will tell like how things will play out. because both sides are very vocal about how they see marriage. And so marriage is, a social construct for a lot of people.
Exactly.
And so how we define marriage in our country today, I think, really would set the foundations of what to expect in the future.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So let's see what Ratra is thinking about this issue.
First of all, I would like to point out the fact that we're not sure if the rates have actually increased in terms of extramarital affair or divorce. I agree about the fact that divorce wasn't that prevalent before, but we're not sure if extramarital affairs have increased in the last few decades.
Well,
maybe they actually were happening at that point as well. They only never came into limelight. And also,
I can say that based on my background, for example, and maybe some people who I have talked to, friends and family, and but I think I remember my parents saying that their time, maybe 50 years ago or 30 years ago, they were afraid of mentioning divorce to their parents. That was a taboo for them. So, which means, even if they were not happy, so they had to stick actually with the relationship, which is, I'm not saying is a good thing, but at least they were not divorcing.
No, that's the thing. Just because they weren't divorced doesn't cut out the possibility of them being involved in an extramarital affair, which happens a lot in India, for instance, because in India, people do get married for, the marriage is more of a family thing than it is for the individuals. And in that case, even when they're not happy in their marriages, they always have to stick to their marriage, and they have to put a different face to the society where they're really happy and they don't divorce each other, but what it really is a huge compromise.
Okay, so do you think this might be related to the fact that in some cultures people are forced to be married to their relative or to whoever they are married to? Do you think?
Yeah,
is an
definitely.
issue?
It's also about the type of person. It depends if you really are one of those people who like to keep your family happy, or are you one of the rebellious type who are going to do anything they can to make sure that they don't follow the society's rules.
Okay.
So personally, I believe that extramarital affair and divorce should be okay. There shouldn't be a taboo because it's your life, and it's better to divorce the person than keep down looking on the extramarital affairs, because at least if you're betraying a person, you're not wasting their time further. So it's better to just divorce them and let it be.
Exactly. So rather than divorcing or approving extramarital, why not find a strategy to help people not get into marriages if they don't feel like it, if they don't like the person who they are told to marry?
Exactly. I mean, it's all about this signed piece of paper, really. That's why live-in relationships are so popular nowadays. It's you either get into marriage head first, or if you are not that sure, then really think like twice before doing it. But just in case you do end up doing it by mistake, because I mean there's so many people married out there, like obviously it's gonna take a few mistakes to realize. But if you do realize that you made a mistake, then it is still okay to psychology proves that you can fall in love with different people at the same time.
Okay.
So it's okay to fall in love. It's better to fall in love again than commit suicide thinking that, oh my god, I'm gonna hurt so many people. That's just gonna destroy lives. Might as well fall in love, marry a different person, divorce, and start all over basically.
All right, it's better to remarry and start over. So we will listen to Katie Donegan. What do you think about this?
Well, I'd have to agree with Amber that we're living in a very individualist society, and I think that's reflected in the state of marriage and divorces in the country now. I know my family is extremely Catholic, Irish Catholic family, and it's as though marriage is seen as the goal in any relationship, like, and that's the end. Whereas I think we should be thinking about marriage as a new beginning, because relationships are work, they take effort. And I think today, with the high divorce rates, I think we're seeing relationships taking a back seat to survival and economic success, because a lot of times it's more about getting your rent paid on time, feeding your family, instead of going on dates. So yeah, and I think inequality has a place in this too, because everybody wants, now the ideal marriage is a 50-50 situation where everybody's putting in equal work.
Exactly, which is really an issue.
Right,
Yeah.
because inequality makes that hard to do, since like to have a 50-50 marriage, you have to have a good economic base and you have to have personal maturity. And inequality makes that difficult for people who are in underprivileged situations.
Exactly. I mean, do you think it's really, does it matter to be married today still, after all?
I definitely do. There's a lot of legal and health insurance related stuff and legal benefits to being married. And I think those still have a place in society today. It's not just a document. I think it's a commitment, and I think there's definitely still a place for that in the future.
All right, thank you. And I'm gonna come back to Amber. So, yeah, does it matter to be married in your perspective?
I do think it matters. I just think when people do consider marriage, they just need to consider their motives in getting married, and just look at it in a deeper perspective. I agree with Katie that that it's more than a piece of paper, because if that's all it was, then it wouldn't be such a huge topic. I feel like marriage should be looked at as something where two people are becoming one. So in terms of divorce, it shouldn't be as easy, honestly, because it's not something that I feel like people should go into a marriage thinking as an option. I feel like it's that serious. Like if you do not see yourself with this person for the rest of your life, and it is a commitment, like we all commit to something, whether it be going to school or whatever, we choose to commit. Marriage is a choice. If you don't see yourself committing to this person for the rest of your life, then don't do it. I don't think that everyone needs to get married, but I feel like if you are going to get married, you should take it seriously.
All right. If you're gonna get married, you should take it seriously. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think marriage is a big decision. I think, like Katie was saying, from one perspective, it could be a lot of legal issues. Another perspective, it's a commitment. It depends on where you come from. I think for me, like, I do see it more as more than just like a legal document. And for me, like coming from like a Vietnamese family.
Exactly, I like that perspective.
My family is from Vietnam, and our social system, well, not our, but my parents' social system isn't as established as it is in the United States. Like the United States has a lot of social programs that Vietnam doesn't have. And so like I think here in America, like someone who's married can afford to like do all these other things, break away from the traditional role of marriage and all these legal things, but in like some place in Vietnam, for example, like when you're not married, you're kind of on your own. Like there's no family
support.
Yeah, no family support or anything like that. And that's definitely like a big decision, because like what happens when you get old and who's gonna take care of you after that?
Lonely.
Like, yeah.
Yes, I get that. Especially in this country, it's just very different from a foreign country. For example, when people socialize more than in the United States. So yes, I think I agree with you. And yes,
I kind of want to come back to Amber's point about how marriage is about two people becoming one. What I really think is that relationships are about two individuals growing together but individually. it's not about being one. So in case you realize that any relationship in your life is stunting your growth as a person or your happiness, then it's okay to let go of that person.
It's okay to let go of that person. Okay, so in your perspective, I mean, as I was saying at the beginning, I mean, marriage, we already, talk about it. It's a commitment. It's something very maybe valuable that many of us today, especially young people, don't see the value of it. So you think, I mean, it just, okay, if I get into this relationship, it doesn't work, I'm gonna go. Instead of saying, why am I getting married? Should I get married? Do I want to be in a marriage? You know what I mean?
No, that's definitely true. The values over time have definitely changed. But the thing is, extramarital affairs and divorce are such a diverse topic. It's such a big topic that several other factors come into this. So at least our generation, if it's not staying together or not that pro-marriage, at least they're not being involved in, well, it's pretty debatable to say they're not involved in physical or sexual abuse. But I'm pretty sure that even in our parents' generations, when they weren't ready to let go of each other because of the societal commitment, they were actually hurting each other more sexually or physically, which is not okay. So I think it's better to not be married than literally kill another person psychologically or physically.
Okay. While research indicated that in 2010, 61% of never married adults would like to get married someday, only 53% feel the same way in 2012. Yet studies have shown that married people live longer and feel more secure than those who aren't. Couples are also known to be healthier than single, and married individuals are said to be less likely to develop cancers or have heart attacks.
Coming back to Katie's point about how some people just like to take in a relationship and not give back, what I really think is that it all comes down to if you're in a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship. So if you're in an unhealthy one, then yeah, you tend to be more selfish. So you don't really tend to think about the other person's emotions or anything into consideration. But if you're in a healthy one, then you would love to give as much as you take. That's why we come down to why people cheat on their spouses. It's because they're in an unhealthy relationship. It's not about how we just like to cheat on people or it's gonna be fun. It's basically like a cry of help, or like cry to basically show that our relationship is not the way it was before and I need to be out of here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I there's lots of reasons for why people would cheat. I think one of the most popular, at least for like younger couples, is the fear of missing out. I think that a lot of people compare their relationships to others, or think, what if the grass is greener on the other side, and maybe take for granted what they have at present. And I think that leads them to cheat.
Okay. So does it relate to a physical, like like a lot of couples when they get married, they tend to be in love and everything is perfect, and most of the time, as we know, especially for women, after they give birth to one or two kids, they look physically maybe different. Should that be maybe a problem?
I mean, it certainly is. I don't know, I wish it wasn't a problem, because I would like to think that if you love someone enough, you can love them no matter what they look like.
Exactly.
But I know it is a problem. A lot of people lose their interest physically with people. It happens. But I would like to think that love is stronger than just looks. But maybe I'm a romantic.
Okay, let's listen to Amber. Yes. What do you think?
I think the whole thing with marriage that you have to include in the conversation is love. And what is love? What does it mean? And personally, I believe that love is a choice, just like marriage is a choice. And it's a commitment. Like, for example, our families. I'm sure a lot of us can say that a lot of people in our families have hurt us, have treated us a certain way, but there's still that commitment we have to them because they're our family, and no matter what, they're just going to be your family. And in terms of marriage, like, yes, you can divorce, but once you make that commitment to somebody that, like, we're going to do this forever, it's hard to just be like, okay, like, divorce.
I'm not into it anymore.
Like, because it's just like you love that person, and even though they hurt you, you still made a commitment to them. So I think cheating just plays into, like, lack of communication and also unhealthiness, but also knowing that, both of you guys have a part to play in that in some way, and communicating that and working through it instead of just being like,
I'm done. Okay, so Daniel,
Yeah.
we would like to hear. Actually, you are the only man here, so maybe you got something more important.
Yeah. So, like, on the idea of cheating, or
Yes. Why do you think people cheat? And as we said, once the woman usually have kid, men tend to change, and maybe they are less interested to their wife or something. So why do you think that happened?
why you think men are less attracted after?
Attracted to the woman, and they feel like, okay, my only alternative is to find somewhere else. So
Oh, I think that's kind of like a blanket statement for all guys. I gotta, all the guys out there,
Of course, there's
I'm
lots
sure-
of faithful husbands in the world.
It's
Shout
not
out.
just the males who cheat; it's the females
Yeah.
too.
exactly.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
too, so.
Exactly. Since he's the only man here, we
Uh-huh.
would like to hear about him, even though I will be back to you guys. So, yeah.
I mean, I think a lot for a lot of guys, like, visual. There's a lot of visual stimulation that guys do kind of play on. I mean, you could see it in, like, the whole porn industry. Which demographic is more prevalent, or is the dominant consumer of that. But I think, it's just people's values and what they expect out of it. There's not a lot of training or teaching of what marriage is, what is expected. Like, I do agree with what Amber said. Like, marriage is a choice, love is a choice. Like, I don't recognize the idea of that you just fall in love and that just controls me. That doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly.
But I mean, for other people, they see that as that's how they view love, and I'm not there to bash anybody. But so cheating. Yeah, I think there's multiple reasons too. Like, for me, like, I've seen people or heard people cheat because it was available. Like, the person it was convenient for them. So that's a big thing. So it could be environment. For a lot of people, like, they require a certain level of attention, and their partner may not be able to provide that attention for whatever circumstance, And so, in order for them to survive mentally, they may have to, be in a relationship that's immediately to them, And is that because of their character, or is that because of their training and their, upbringing, on resiliency, I think that's
Exactly. I mean, I was thinking about that. Today, I don't know how people think, but for example, when you go outside, especially at this beautiful weather during the summertime, everyone look just sexy, and a lot of people tend to feel in really that kind of
Inclined towards cheating.
exactly.
I mean, like Amber said, that marriage and love is a choice, but that choice is not engraved in stone. And the fact that it's not engraved in stone is what makes it so easy to just let go of your commitment promises that you made to people. But coming back to the sexy summer dresses, research suggests that even though guys love visual stimulation, and when you are committed to someone and you see some other girl passing by, obviously you're gonna check her out. But when they made guys recognize the girl that they just saw passing by in a lineup, they could not recognize the girl they saw 10 seconds ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So basically, if
that's
you're worried about your
amazing.
partner cheating on you, then don't be, because more likely the reason you guys are gonna break up is because you started making a huge deal out of it and you started fighting when he doesn't even remember the chick he just saw. Sometimes it's much more about the looks for guys too.
That's amazing. I mean, I would like to come back to this point of about physical attractions, though. So, I mean, we women tend to think, okay, it's only men who really change their mind because who knows, they're not attracted anymore to their wife after a few of children. But what about us?
That's the thing.
What about us? What do we think about men? Do we change? Do we change our mind because something physically changes on our husband?
I think that the main reasons that we cheat are we want desire, we're feeling anguish, and we need attention. And I think that doesn't discriminate across genders. I think both people
Definitely.
feel the temptation to cheat, and I don't think it matters what gender you are.
What I think is that without even realizing, internally the principle that we really follow is that looks attract you and personality makes you stay. But that looks does not mean that it has to be that concrete checklist that so what might be attractive for me might not be attractive for you.
Exactly.
But what is attractive for you is the person you're gonna try to get to know more. So yes, everyone cares about looks, and maybe your definition of what is attractive to you, what is appealing to you, changes over years, and that makes cheating equal across domains, basically.
All right. So we're now going to ask this question to Daniel, actually. So, Amber, what do you think about that? Is it only men who change their mind about their partner, or do we too, as women?
I mean, I feel like we do. I personally can't speak that much because I've never been married, and I haven't been with anyone for a long period of time to like have my own like idea about that. But I could imagine like if a woman cares about how she looks and she takes pride in herself, she would want her spouse to do the same. And if she feels like she's putting in the effort to look nice and her spouse isn't, and that could make her lose attraction because she feels like he's not putting that same value in that. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay, so I mean, if you guys have something to add, we can.
Well, I just bring up the issue, like, so like the idea of marriage that we've been talking about cheating, but like, you know, there's that dialogue of like, is monogamous lifelong commitment, is that a real thing or is that not a real thing? And I think, you know, for me, like I side on like the idea that lifelong commitment is the thing for me. A lot of people may not understand that, you know, and so that's why cheating may occur, under that structure of lifelong commitment.
Because of that different viewing point.
Yeah.
That people have in them.
Right, because like, I know a couple of my friends have talked about how they think like, as you know, people we're not designed for lifelong commitment.
I've heard that argument too.
Yeah, and so that's something that, you know, for them then, you know, cheating isn't really cheating. It's just the process of living out what being a human is. You know, you spend a little bit of time with somebody and then you move on to the next person.
You have to move on to the next person.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people feel that way, which is really, I mean, sad. If you have to be committed more than twice or 3 times actually, and have to really go through
divorce,
I mean, it does look bad, but.
Well, I mean, it's a different social structure and setup. So I mean, I think as a site we place good and bad on those perspectives.
But also, I don't know what people think though. I know that all of you, many of us here, you know, I mean, you guys are maybe more used to the United States and know less about other countries. But based on what you see on TV, throughout cinema and stuff like that, do you think divorce is more popular in the United States, or you think it's may affect anyone in the world, or it's everywhere?
Being a third culture kid, I can say with confidence that US is known for its divorces, but it happens everywhere. It just doesn't come into limelight because it's not that acceptable. So, and also because corruption is so big in the third world countries that you can really, if it is going to come into limelight too, you can really use your power and money to make sure that that thing doesn't come out in media. And all these statistics that we're talking about, all of them can be messed up with corruption too. So really, the patterns that we're seeing here in cheating or in extramarital affairs or divorce are really global than national or local. It's not just your personal deal, it is really a global deal that we're talking about.
Okay. So, Kate, would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the statistics of divorce in other countries, but just like how we talked about, like the need for desire and affection doesn't discriminate across gender. I don't think it discriminates, excuse me, across geographic borders. I think it's a universal thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just that we're gonna go with the last point. You know, a lot of third world countries, as you just mentioned, it's like a lot of time they really, I mean, support polygamy. So, which is not the case in the United States. But with this cheating, this high percentage of cheating in the United States, should people blame polygamy, since obviously when you cheat while you are married or while you are committed to a person, that means you are being, because you are having a double relationship? What do you guys think about that?
First of all, America has polygamy too. It's the sister wives. You must have watched on TLC that we have sister wives here too. But having sister wives is not an issue as long as both the partners are fine knowing the fact that they're going to be sharing partners. So be it polygamy or polyandry, which is a female having a lot of male partners, it is not just a third culture deal either. That's why I said most of the issues that we're talking about, they're so global. You cannot really be specific
about it.
So even though we cannot draw broad generalizations about all these issues, we cannot make
Also
exceptions for it or like leave them out either. So yes, polygamy and polyandry are not that, they are a taboo right now. But I think our ancestors were okay with polygamy and polyandry. I think maybe in the future it might become a thing where people are going to be more fine with it, which is really debatable.
Legally, you think?
Yeah, it might be possible actually.
That will be a tough...
A huge change in the legal system, yes.
Right.
But
I can see that happening too,
Yeah.
especially with like the state of the marriage institution as it is right now. It's
Exactly.
struggling. So I can see polygamy becoming accepted eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's possible. I feel like we're moving in a direction, like we're very individualistic, and I feel like we're moving in the direction of whatever works for you, go for it. So
Yeah.
So you are more liberal than
I'm
than
not liberal.
strict woman.
No, I admit I'm not liberal, but I see society, U.S. society, going in that direction. So I don't see it not being a possibility.
Exactly.
Okay, so Daniel?
Yeah, I don't see polygamy being a big thing in the United States. Just because, like, I think because we're such an individualistic society, being a polygamous system or relationship would mean that we would have to give up, like, we have to share, you know. And so, like, for me, like, you know, I want to be able to call my wife, be like, hey, what are you doing? I don't want to have to, like, wait. You know,
Until
my
you-
turn.
Right.
Okay.
You know?
Your other guy into the phone.
Yeah, you know, and so like I think, you know, for that feeling that's a natural feeling, you know, I think that's a very strong force in our society. And so to say that polygamy is gonna be the dominant structure, I don't think so. Just because that you know, jealousy is such a easy feeling to develop also. That especially like in some of the other countries, you know, polygamy does happen, but like one party is very unhappy, you know. And
Exactly.
is that what we want? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
Well, so I don't know, but it seems like I have non-jealous people with me. It doesn't seem you guys are really jealous if you are proven polygamy, but actually I'm thinking about it because even if it wouldn't be like something legal, but verbally it's happening. So as we are toward the end of this debate, I just would like to give you the opportunity to give an advice if you have one for those who are married and who may be struggling right now, if you have a message for them, and for those who are not married but who plan to be married, and to those who are married but who are in extramarital affair. If you have just a short message for them, just an advice if you do have one.
I just think honesty is a big key in all those situations. It's yeah. All parties need to be honest, open. I think things will work out.
Amber?
Wow. I guess I would just say to just consider, like, look deeper into what marriage is. It's on a whole nother level than just a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but it's deep. So like, just really consider the reasons why you married this person, and just consider that.
Cool. Rebecca?
Even though it's against my culture to support extramarital affair and divorce, I would really like to say that if you're in an extramarital affair, then go and talk to your partner and be honest about it. And just think about the morning you wake up to the same person that you've been sleeping with for the last so many years you've married, and think if you can bear the fact of seeing that person again the next morning. If you can't, you know your answer if you want to leave that person or stay with that person.
Okay. Okay.
I think you really have to look at yourself and be honest with yourself before you get into a situation like this. I would say try your best to not give in to the pressure to get married if it's not something that you want, because marriage should be something that you want. It's not suited for everybody. I think you should be willing to work, and I think that's like what stops people from having healthy relationships, because some are looking just to take
From someone, but
Yeah.
they never
Yeah,
give out.
but it needs to be it's a two-way system. You need to be able to give back to your partner.
Again, thank you guys for joining us at Amherst Y, and thank you for making this multicolor panel from people from different perspectives, Southeast Asia, Caribbean, South India, and Massachusetts. So thank you so much for being here, and stay with us.